Do you know that golden rule to achieve your financial success is to set up goals? It is one of the most important things to take place if you plan to improve your financial situation or achieve your financial success. It gives us a sense of direction and also guide us what action to take. Join me and Dr. Olivier Becherel today to learn two aspects of goals: how to set goals and how to put a process and strategies in place to achieve goals.
Welcome to the Money DNA channel. Money DNA is a financial fitness community where we bring everything about money and beyond money concepts in life to help you create healthy money habits and to be financially fit for good. It is important to understand that the advice is general in nature and does not take into account your personal objectives, financial needs, and overall well-being situation, and it may not be appropriate for you.
Hi everyone, it's Winnie here. Thank you for tuning into Money DNA. We'll be looking at goals, goal rules to achieve financial success in life. Join me today is Dr. Olivier Becherel at Mastery to Success. Dr. Olivier Becherel is a personal leadership specialist, business and life coach. Olivier and his wife, Dr. Marcia Becherel, both transitioned from academic jobs to establish their own business, Mastery to Success, a coaching and consulting business to a more aligned path to fulfill their purpose. By aligning mind, body, and behavior through science-based practical tools, they have helped many professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs to find their purpose and achieve greater success, impact, and fulfillment in life. Olivia, welcome to Money DNA again.
Hi, Winnie. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, Olivia, through my career, I have countless people come to me and ask, what do you think about buying an investment property or, shares, Bitcoins, foreign exchange, or different types of investments? Or do you think that it's the right time for us to invest in certain investment classes? My question usually is come to them and just say that, why do you want to invest in certain investments? Or what's the purpose for it? Because oftentimes, many people can't even give me a very clear answer to the question. So now we're recording this episode in November 2021. Last few months, a study released and conducted by CoreLogic shows that in the last 12 months, Australian property price nationwide have risen 21%, while our wage only slightly increased by 1%. Are we acting as a smart move to accumulate wealth, or is it just a fear of missing out?
That is a very good question. And I just want to jump back to the point that you said that the property prices rise 20%, but the wages rise only 1%.
Isn't it crazy?
So if you buy something, but your wage doesn't rise to the same level of the property prices, there's a very important long-term consequence about the financing of those properties.
Interesting that you mentioned about the long-term consequences, because I think that a lot of people actually don't really understand about that. They look at, earlier we mentioned about, is it going to be a fear of missing out? So think about that. If this property is going to increase 21%, yes, it may sound and also look like it is 21% of growth, but do you think that you are ready to pay 21% or 22% of the extra cost to acquire to this investment?
And that's why, talking about goals becomes really important, that we need to be really clear on what are the type of goals we're setting. If someone has a goals to, let's say, create an investment portfolio, it's not just making a rash decision because everybody is jumping onto the opportunity right now that is going to be the right decision for you to do that.
Yeah.
And so spending a bit of time to understand what do you need to have in place in order to make sure that this is really a proper goal, something that you're actually going to achieve, not just a simple fantasy or delusion or just a fear of missing out because everybody's jumping on some kind of opportunity, but it might not be the best opportunity for them. Yeah. So it's really specific and depends on each individual. And so it's really important for people to get really clear about what are the goals, what they're trying to achieve, and is this something that is relevant to them or even aligned with them before they jump on board any kind of opportunity that they may see.
That's exactly right. And that's why I think that you and I talked about this before, and think that one of the key reasons for this phenomenon, or even for us to really achieve a certain financial goals, is actually understanding and also clarify around your goals. And since last time we talked about discovering your core value is one of the first step of creating healthy money habits. And once you identify the core value, you need to ensure that they are aligned with your goals. So I think that today is definitely going to be a really, really good idea for us to carry on our trains of thoughts and discuss about setting goals, and also the how we're going to do about the goals and how we're going to achieve that. And if you haven't watched the episode about core value, you can check out the video here. Now, I think, again, what I would like to do is, because I think it's really important for us to not just talking about methods, I wanted to really touch on with the what and why and how. So should we start with the what?
Yeah, let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
So a goal is basically a milestone or an outcome that you want to achieve in the future. So it gives you a direction in where you're going to move towards to achieve that specific outcome. And it gives you the specific details about what the outcome is going to look like. And so that's what is really important when we set goal, is the specificity behind the goal. If we're too vague about the goal, it becomes very hard to be able to measure when we reach that moment where we achieve that goal. So specificity is really key about the goal.
I also found out it's quite interesting, because you are talking about the goal is actually a milestone for the future and also setting a direction. I like using the analogy to share with my clients is, when we're setting goals, it's very much like when you're driving in the car, driving on the road, you need to know about where you're going. So the goal is actually the direction you are going. And by understanding about your destination, you can set up a GPS. So the action plan is going to follow through your goals. And that's why goal is so important. Now, when we're saying that goal is important, I probably is going to throw back to you. Why is it that important?
And so that is really an important question for the person wanting to set a goal, especially if you set financial goal. Why setting new financial goals, or maybe setting new habits, healthy habits around finance, is important to you? You need to be able to come up with some reasons, because if you don't have a strong enough reason, nothing's going to happen. And so we don't do anything just because we want to do it. We usually have a reason behind what we do. And so having a strong why behind your goal is really key for making the goal meaningful to you, and also making sure that this is your goal. This is not like someone else's goal, or this is not a goal that people say you have to do it. You have to make sure that this is your goal. It's not a goal that you borrowed from your friend because it looks nice. It needs to be a very strong why, so it becomes really meaningful to you and it becomes your goal, not someone else's goal.
I love is because I can't think of, there's just so countless people coming to us and just say that, especially when it comes to the priming time for the investment. Lots of people come to the bank and just say that, hey, I really want to borrow money and also invest some investment properties. Or when people starting to get into the news and hear that there is a rise in the share market, now they wanted to invest in the share market. Or some people starting to talk about the Bitcoin, then they wanted to get into Bitcoin. Also, another thing that I found out is, especially in our Asian background, if you ask most people, what's your goal in life? What's your purpose in life? Most people say that, I want to be a millionaire. But sometimes I don't really understand about the reason behind a millionaire. So what's millionaire? And also some people are just saying that, okay, I want to be a millionaire. I wanted to have investment properties. Is that going to be a right goal?
Well, again, it depends on each people. It's very individual. And I go back to the core values. You know, the core values is who we are, is part of our identity, is part of our purpose. And really making sure that the goals we set are aligned with those core values is crucial in order to achieve those goals. You know, if someone that wants to say, oh, I want to invest in the property market and buy property for rentals, but if that person has no interest in real estate, in understanding about the property market, well, property investing is probably not the right vehicle for that person to invest, because there's going to be a disconnection between what he's trying to achieve, but who he really is as a person, has no clue, has no interest about property investment. And so that can become a very risky strategy for investment. So it's really important to tailor the investment strategy to that specific individual, making sure it's aligned with their core values, and also making sure that this is really a truly goal that they want, not because everybody is doing it, therefore I have to do it because otherwise I'm going to miss out.
So in another way, can I also say that in order for us to make sure that that goal is our goal, not other people's goal, is actually go back to see your core value, to see if that's going to be something that it is aligned with your core value, and also the things that you really, really want. That probably is going to be the very first step to identify. Would that be right to say that?
Yeah, it's fair to say that. And it's also important, if you have a goal that you really want to achieve and is really congruent and aligned with who you are, it's going to be very easy for you to come up with a whole bunch of reasons behind it. If you're struggling to articulate why you have this goal and why you want to achieve that, it's probably a good indication that there is a disconnection here.
Yeah, that is so true. So I guess that having that core value alignment is really important. What other criteria are we going to be ensure that it is a good goal? It is actually not going to be a wishy-washy goal then?
So first, we need to have a goal that is specific. We need to have specificity on the goal, because specificity is going to give us some indication of how we are tracking along achieving that goal. So we'll be able to measure that goal. We need to be realistic in the time frame. You know, as you mentioned before, everybody wants to be a millionaire. What's the time frame to become a millionaire? You know, some people can achieve maybe in a few years. Some people might need their whole life to get to a millionaire. So having a specific time frame is really key. Making sure the goal is aligned with your values is really important too. And so there's a little bit of work required to make sure that the goals you're going to set is actually a goal you're going to be able to achieve. Because it's very cheap to set a goal. Anyone can set a goal. But we don't want to set any goal. We want to set a goal that we actually can achieve.
Yeah. So obviously having that the specific idea about what you want to achieve and also the time frame is going to be really, really important. Now, when we're talking about goals, is it going to be just one thing, which is setting goals, or is there any other aspects that we need to also look at?
So when I look at goals in the broader sense, I look at mainly two aspects. The setting the goals, which is about defining the direction and making sure it's clear, specific, measurable, and there's a realistic time frame behind that. The second aspect is about the strategy we're going to put in place to achieve the goal, the process, what we need to do to achieve the goal. Because you can set a goal, but if you don't change what you do, it's just a delusion, right? You're never going to achieve that goal. So setting the goal is the first step to get the direction, but it's actually the process and the strategy that gets you there. And that's where I feel a lot of people focus on the goal, but don't put enough effort and focus on putting the right strategy in place.
Yeah. And I think that at the end of the day, it is just a talk. So you can always create such a beautiful plan, and at the same time, you can even color it, frame it, and then post it on the wall. But at the same time, if you are not going to have any action plans or not even having any strategies, then that is just a talk. It's meaningless. So now, since we're talking about, there are two aspects in setting goals. In goals. One is setting goals. The other one is putting in place. Why don't we just give our audience some examples?
Well, we can because our audience is mostly interested in developing healthy, money habits and growing their wealth. So we can use an example of, let's say, an investment portfolio as a goal.
That's a good idea.
And then we can workshop that together to see what are the crucial steps to be put in place in order to have a realistic goal about an investment portfolio.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So let me guess, the very first step that we can do is to understand about the why. Why is it so important? And also, is it going to be aligned with your core value? Is that right?
Exactly. We need to have a strong reason behind in order to put some time and effort into manifesting that goal. So that's step one.
Okay.
The second step, if we talk about an investment portfolio, we need to consider what is the nature of the investment portfolio.
What
is going to look like? What is it going to look like? What are the different asset classes that you want to have in your investment portfolio? Is it going to be real estate? Is it going to be shares? Is it going to be crypto? So we need to be able to understand what is it actually, what is the vehicle that you're going to decide at. And it comes back to looking at your values. Because the vehicle you're going to choose needs to be something that is meaningful to you. You need to be able to connect with it.
Yeah.
But if it's not connected with your value, you won't necessarily put your time and effort into understanding that vehicle.
Yeah.
So the nature of the investment portfolio becomes really important there.
There's going to be a series of investment options that we are going to reporting in the future in Money DNA for people to understand about different investment classes. At the same time, we also have a really cool tool that Winnie created and combined with all years of knowledge all together to really help you to understand about your investment criteria and also your investment interest. So if you are interested in that, do feel free to contact me and then we can go through the investment options with you. Again, remember, this is all in the advice is going to be general in nature. So if you are going to be interested in something, you do need to do some research yourself. But one thing that we touch on with the nature of portfolio actually is going to put the step 3 into our process, which is to understand about your outcome, the outcome you're looking for. A lot of people actually come to me and just said, oh, I really want to get into the investment. But the very first thing about the portfolio or the outcome you're looking for is actually about whether you are looking for a capital growth or you are looking for an income. It could be a passive income. It could be also active income. It depends on how you are going to do it. So are you looking for the growth or are you looking for the income stream? And with that, you can be more specified as how much are you looking for? For example, the capital growth. Capital growth, that means that you are going to keep this property or keep this investment in a certain time, and you are expecting within this time frame, you are looking for a growth of a certain amount of money. For example, a 200,000, a 500,000. So you need to be really clear about the growth and also the amount. Or if it's going to be a passive income, is it going to be valued as a monthly income, or is it going to be cover your frequently as quarterly income or annual income? And with that, how much are you looking for? So I think that that's probably going to be my step 3 that I would like to throw into that.
And that's perfect, Winnie, because you just reiterated the importance of having a specific goal, being specific about what it is. So exactly, the growth versus the income, the time frame, and also how to measure it. What is the amount? So what you just described in the step 3 is really going through all the different criteria of setting a proper goal.
Yeah. And what about the step 4 then?
So the next step would be, we need to be able to, when we set a goals, so we're setting the direction. Now we need to do a little bit more research and needs to be understanding a bit, okay, what's going to be involved in order to achieve that goal? We need to educate ourselves. We need to understand better where we're going.
Yep.
So that becomes really important part of setting a goals and achieving a goals. When we set a goals, it means we're going somewhere where we've never been before. That means we need to do new things that we never did before. And very often it requires a bit of self-education, or maybe going to different courses, or talking to new people, talking to professionals, in order to gain that new level of knowledge that we're currently missing.
So I
We need
guess
to look
that,
at all the different aspects of it.
yeah. So I guess that starting to do the research and then understand about the, I guess, being open-minded with different type of options in the market or in mind, rather than just jumping to one thing right away because that's the only thing, or rather just reaching out to your parents or your friends because that's the only thing they do, and then starting to educate yourself and absorb yourself in different type of investment options. And I guess that there are so many resources out there at the moment. You can join a workshop, you can go to a seminar, you can even talk to the professionals. So I guess that that's also very important steps for us to go to.
Yeah, it's very important, and it's part of achieving your goals. You have to be able to put a strategy in place of who's going to be the best vehicle for you to find the information you need.
What are the nitty-gritty things that we need to consider when we think about the involvement? Would that be like who will get involved, the time frame, and those sort of things?
Yeah. So who is involved? Let's say you want to build your investment portfolio. So who's involved? Are you just the only person involved? Is there your spouse involved? Is there other people involved? Who is going to guide you through the process? You know, who is going to be the professional that guides you through the process to make sure that all the boxes are ticked?
Yep.
So that's part of that. How much time and energy you're going to dedicate to that in order to make sure you're going to grow it and move it forward. That's another important aspect. You know, it's just set and forget. You know, you have to keep putting your attention and focus into it to make sure you grow it. So although sometimes you say it's passive income, but you still need to put a little bit of time and focus into that.
Yeah, I guess that back to what you just said before, people have those fantasy, or what I said is a romantic idea about getting into investment, especially I wanted to create some passive income so that I don't really need to think too much about that. No, you can't really just have a passive income without putting any energy or thoughts in there. Money is not going to just come out of nowhere. You do need to do some research about that. And I think that you are right about this, who is going to involve. Another thing that I also found is a common, I wouldn't say error, is a common myth, is lots of people actually didn't really have that communication with their spouse. Whether you are going to invest by yourself or whether you are going to invest with your partner, you need to also share this idea, share this passion, share this goal or dream with the other person. And who's going to be involved? Are you going to involve with other guarantors? Are they willing to be your guarantor? Those are the things that you also need to talk about. Who is going to be the one along the way to guide you what to do, like you said, as a professional and a specialist, and also the time frame. But also another thing I think that we might need to have that reality check is how much do you have at the moment as your assets or the deposit.
And that is very important, especially when people want to invest in property. You know, you need to have something to put as a deposit towards a property. And so what you mentioned before is like the 21% rise in property prices. That basically means the deposit is also gonna buy 21% roughly. True. What you need to, so you need to be realistic of how much do you have right now and what is a viable strategy for you in order to start growing your investment portfolio.
True. Speaking of the deposit and also the percentage, I think that also another thing is what are going to be the resources that you can take. Some of the state governments or also our federal governments have some of the incentive things, like you can also get a first home grant and also take out some of the assets from your super fund, but do consider about also future consequences for it. Another thing is, of course, when we are looking at the assets itself, is how are we going to ensure that's going to be enough? What are going to be the additional costs that you don't really understand or you are not aware of? And I guess that will link back to who will be the person that you need to talk to. Talking
Exactly.
to your professional is definitely going to be one of the key.
Investment is not a one-man band. It's like a teamwork.
Yeah.
And teamwork, depending on who's involved in it, you need to have proper communication. That's why you also need to have clear goals. Because everybody's going to base their decision and the help they provide based on the clarity of your goals that you set.
Yep.
So that's key. Yeah.
So I guess that we pretty much touch on with all the things that we need to have. I guess there are still one more missing steps. So what will be that then, Olivia?
Then what you're going to do about it. That's the key step. Because now you set the goal, you have all the information you need to be able to understand what is the right strategy for you, the right, investment vehicle for you. Now it's about what you're going to do daily in your money habits to make sure you're going to meet what is required to achieve that goal.
Yep.
And so it's important to see, okay, setting the goal is easy. Achieving the goal is really where is the nitty-gritty of things. And that's where money behavior and money habits becomes really important. Because you need to do something different that you've been done in the past.
Yep.
And so that's where the behavior becomes really important about selling healthy money habits.
That's right. And also putting some actions and also energies in there rather than just having a beautiful goals.
There's one of my mentors say, money goes where energy flows. And so that's why you have to put effort, focus, attention, and energy into something that you want to grow. And it's the same thing with money. Yeah, totally. I really like our conversation today. And I think that if we are going to sum up with what we are saying today, obviously we all wanted to have a great life. And the great life, the definition of the great life, definition of the abundance are so different from everyone. And in order for us to achieve that, of course, last time we talked about the core value. And then today we also mentioned about the goals. If you're going to be able to align with these two together, you probably is going to know where to go to. So any key takeaway that you can also share with our audience, Olivia? Well, I would say that the first one is when you want to achieve a certain goals or when you have a goal, make sure it's your goal, not you borrowed someone else's goal.
Yeah.
So make sure this is yours and be really clear, specific, measurable, and in the time. And then make sure you're going to bring the people on board that's going to allow you to achieve your goal. Remember that achieving goals is a team sport. And so consider and take some time to put a team around you that's going to allow you to achieve your goals. You don't have to do it on your own. And so that would be my key take home.
Love it. Thank you, Olivia, for sharing today. So guys, if you like what we share and you think someone may benefit from the content, please like, share, or subscribe our channel. And if you'd like to book into a complimentary consultation about your money DNA or contact Olivia about your personal leadership or your business or personal goals, the link and the contact detail will be listed down below. Also, if you have any questions or any feedbacks that you would like to share with us, please feel free to leave your comment down below as well. Thank you for joining us today and keep financially fit and healthy. I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.